Hello, hello. Welcome to the BerrieDex live stream Monday markets. Markets in chaos today. We'll have some fun with that. Thank you so much for joining us. I am the voice of Berry today, and we're going to be using some of the Berry products, the swap, things like that, and then checking out the markets. But maybe let's just take a look at one chart before we get into it here. All right. Here we go. This is the Bitcoin CME futures chart. Woo! Looks rough. But that happens from time to time. Uh you know. Let's see what this has given us so far here. We're going to go from the top to current 28%, almost at that 30% that I look for in a bear or in a bull market with a bearish move here. But let's get down to the chart real quick before we get into using Berry itself. Berry is still nice and stable today from the past few days, while Bitcoin and a lot of the crypto market has been just tanking. You can see what everybody's been talking about on the chart right there. There's the CME gap, and looks like we've filled it. So the gap is filled. No more pressure from that. Now we see what happens. The market has been just really struggling to find any sort of organic passive buying here, just pretty consistent selling you can see in the volume in the past few days. But that is the futures gap that everybody's been talking about. Will it fill? Will it not fill? They pretty much have almost always filled. I can't think of any event where they have not eventually filled. So something to keep in mind, but you can see it took a very, very long time to get back there. That gap was all the way back in April, and now we've finally filled it. So we'll see if the market can find some traction here after filling that gap. Like I said in my account and last time I was streaming, I am personally still looking for a little bit lower. I'll show you my Bitcoin chart here. I am still really eyeballing this 0.78 and 0.5 fib over here. I can show you where those are coming from. So the green fib is coming from the low back here in August of the initial move off the bottom and then created a new major higher low there at about 49,50,000 there. So 49 it looks like. That's where that green fib is, and so that's the 0.5 fib of that move all the way from there up to the recent top here. So that 87 and then the 85 here on the 0.7, that is my white fib from the more recent major low of the market at 75. So both of those areas have some nice confluence for the Fibonacci retracement. I would expect a lot of buyers to be looking for that level. I don't know that we're going to get it just straight away, but given the recent price action the past few days, entirely possible that we see that today, tomorrow, or this week at the very least. Let's go back up to the monthly, though, real quick. And you can see I'm looking at a 13 and a 26 EMA. Just that's how I schedule my monthly EMAs that's how I schedule my EMAs, the 13 and the 26. I like looking at those pretty good, both on monthly, weekly, and daily time frames. All right, now let's take a look at some Berry swap here. Let's see. We're still logged in. Okay, so I just want to play with something here. Let's take a look at the swap. Okay, let's take a look at the swap in. Let's see. Oh, you guys won't be able to see that unless I add this to the. No, that's fine. All right. So let's see how the swap's doing today. Now, if you have been using Berry, you've seen for yourself, try doing the same transactions in any other swap. Go to, if you're using Phantom Wallet or you have a swap native to your wallet, check out the rate, check out the fees, because Berry is beating them on our swap all the time. So I'm just going to get a little bit of Sol today. And let's see, what do we want to try and swap for here? Um, let's have a little fun here. Let's try a Sol to ETH swap. Actually, let's go back here. Okay, yeah, we're exchanging from Sol. Good. And we want to go into ETH. Okay. And let's do, yeah, just straight up. What do we got? About 50% here. Okay, so you can see it came back with a nice return. Very little slippage there. Good gas fee, like it. And we'll send this. You're low by continuing, you'll get enough. Yeah, that's fine. That's a nice feature that we've included there just so that you can have some gas too for your transactions on Ethereum. Let's review that and let's start the bridge. Yeah, no, I just don't use this address for a lot of ETH, so I've got my pop-up here. You won't be able to see it, but that's just for safety right now. And then I'm going to confirm that transaction fee shows me the network fee, and we're waiting for the destination. So there we go. We're doing a cross-chain swap right now. A little bit of Sol into ETH here. And then I'm going to use that ETH. As long as everything goes through on the swap, sometimes when it's doing the bridges and stuff, can take a little bit longer, can run into issues if there's low liquidity in whatever exchange that it's found the best rate on. So we'll wait and see, make sure it works. If not, we can always change our exchanges, change our bridges, things like that. But this is the nice thing. You don't have to worry about any of that. The Berry swap is going to find those things automatically for you. And there you go. Successful cross-chain swap on the Berry swap. So check it out for yourself. Try it, swap.berr.ie. You can get any coin into any other coin cross-chain on BerrieDex, which is just absolutely fantastic. This makes life so much easier in crypto if you are active and you're trying to move things around and, get some of those harder to get tokens sometimes. So take advantage of this amazing feature of BerrieDex and, get used to using Berry for more and more of your crypto needs because we have a major update coming within the next few weeks to the platform. Stick around if you've been following us on Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok even. We're trying to get a little bit of everything going to reach the masses there and just show them the good word of Berry here. So if you're following us, you've seen that we are launching perpetual futures trading, but it's not just futures on BerrieDex. It is an entire redesign of the platform. It is a professional look, professional features for everyone, from the pro trader to the amateur, safety features for newer people to learn how to use futures properly without getting liquidated. All right. So we're really excited for that launch. And, you're going to be seeing all kinds of amazing things. Spot will be run through the swap feature here. So start using the swap for yourself and just see how good our swap is. And then you can even get in on some of the prediction markets coming to Berry. Super excited for that as well. All right, so we're going to turn some ETH into some Berry on Solana. Okay, that's what we're after here. There we go. All right, so we're going to do a cross-chain swap for Ethereum into Berry on Solana. So this is getting a little bit more into the weeds here. So let's have some fun with it. We're going to try and do the maximum. Should have enough of that ETH gas to do that, so we'll see. And then there you go. It's returning best return. A little bit more slippage here, of course, because we are doing a larger swap, not just from one major chain into the other, but from a major chain into a token on another chain. And you'll see that, but this is still a pretty good rate, and gas fee's not terrible there. So let's try it. Let's review that bridge, and let's do it. Yeah, I know, I'm losing a little bit here. Network cost, what are we losing here? Sending, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm going to go for it because this is a small amount. If I was doing a larger amount, I might be able to get a better rate or look for a better rate. But I'm doing a small amount and I just want to see. I can show you guys how you can look for some of that stuff in a moment here. All right, so we're doing it. Bridge transaction is pending. Cool, confirmed. Now we're waiting on the destination chain, and then we should have that berry in our wallet. Boom, that fast. So pretty fantastic. If you're in a hurry and you just want to get it, you can do that. If you do want to get a better rate, you can, change it for best return, for your route priority. You can also do max slippage a lot lower, things like that. You can say you want your gas prices to be more of a slow transaction, lower gas price, and you can take off the exchange that's giving you the higher loss rate there too. So you've got lots of options in customizing how you're using the swap, but if you set your settings to just automatic, you're going to get the best rate that we have here and the best thing that it can find, even when you're doing some of these more obscure swaps like that. So that was pretty nice. We're going to go back now. If you haven't started staking your berry yet, make sure that you do stake the berry, because we are doing distributions now every 72 hours to stakers. So people are getting returns from all fees generated on the Berry chain and the BerrieDex products returned to them through staking. And those returns, that yield, is 100% no inflation. These are from existing Berry tokens only. And one of the cool things that Berry's doing for the DeFi space is we have that hard cap, 10 million Berry tokens. So we're not creating any inflation in the market. We are actually delivering real yield through buybacks on the open market that are funded 100% by the volume created from people using the Berry platform. So get in there, get some Berry, start staking it, and start earning that yield on Berry, especially with these major platform updates coming and the new markets. Really, really excited to start playing with that. I can't show you the preview yet, but very soon we'll be showing off that preview. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream today because I just wanted to show that off real quick and talk about it. But I want to get back to markets because it is an absolute bloodbath out there in markets all around. This is exciting for me because I'm looking at possible better prices to purchase some things that I've been looking to purchase. I have not purchased any spot Bitcoin since we were down here in March and April. That is the last time I was buying Bitcoin, and I don't know. I think my average buy-in might be lower than Sailor's, so I'm doing okay. Now, obviously, for anybody who bought up here major positions, yeah, you're going to be hurting right now. Look, this is what Bitcoin does. If you look back in the history of it, there are lots and lots of these events. We had this huge drop down here. This was 53%, and then it came all the way back up to the highs. Now, that was the sign of the beginning of a longer downtrend there, but the downtrends in Bitcoin, they really don't last that long. This is only a Binance chart, so it doesn't have the full history. To get the bigger history, we'd have to look at the Bitstamp chart is the one that we want to check out here. All right. Oh, yeah, we got some old lines on this chart from back in the day. Oh, look at that. Funny. All right, so let's get rid of these things, just get a clean chart here. And you can see, obviously, when we zoom in, there's been so many of these major pullback events, and Bitcoin has remained long-term just going up and up and up. So don't get discouraged by these big moves, okay? These are not abnormal. We're hitting about 30% from the recent highs at 126. That is a normal major pullback within a bull market for Bitcoin. Now, if we do drop down 50%, that's not unheard of, but definitely more of a sign for concern, and that would put us down in this lower region, possibly making, let's see, 50% right now is going to be down in the 60s there. So that would break a lot of this market structure, and then we might be in a different kind of market. But as long as we're going to hold that low at 75, I am confident saying that we are still in bullish market conditions long term. We are having a major pullback, and you can see the you can see in the monthly volume that we have half the month left almost still, and a holiday in the US, but we are starting to reach the volume of that previous month here. And about equal volume to September and August already here, and July as well. So definitely a lot of participation in this move. This is the kind of move that's going to scare a lot of people, understandably. And, you know, probably plenty of you out there who are feeling the burn right now. I'm sorry, but that is the way it goes. The volatility is the price that you pay for the potential in crypto. Now, let's take a look here. Obviously, we're getting some downward pressure still in momentum like we talked about last week. You can check out the volume profiles here for various levels from the recent price history. And you can see that after we had that lower high on the weekly that we talked about in the OBV, the volume here, we've just had a consistent downtrend in the OBV. So I would be looking for that to break, let's see, at the very least for this steep trend to break here on the OBV. You know, we don't want to see that continuing like that at that trajectory. All right. So keep an eye on that, especially on the weekly. You know, I would expect to see a relief bounce coming up here very soon now. There's nothing on the higher time frames that's like buy here other than that CME gap from the futures chart, which obviously we're not going to see on a Bitstamp chart or on a Binance chart here. Let's go back to our Binance chart because it is the highest volume centralized exchange, so we want to check that out. Same thing that we're seeing here daily too. Let's take a look at the weekly though, just to confirm what we were seeing on the other chart. Yeah. And let's take a look at that monthly volume as well. Let's see. So yeah, monthly volume about the same as September, getting up to the same as August and July, and June is pretty much the same right now too. So definitely consistent volume. Obviously last month was a very high volume for the local area here, but not super high volume in the overall market. All right, let's see. What else do we have going on here? Okay, so we want to check out that OBV downtrend on the weekly over here. Yep, same thing. Be looking for that to break. You can chart that if you want, or it's just something to keep an eye on. There's, a few levels to it here. It's been increasing in intensity on those peaks that it's had. So we should see that break soon for a relief bounce. I'll be watching that myself for sure. But I'm not ready to be dumping money in myself yet. I am looking for entries now for a potential relief bounce. And then we see, after that, after we get a relief bounce, hopefully, we see what kind of market conditions we're in. Are we going to come back up? Are we going to range for a while? Or is this the beginning of a longer-term downtrend? Nothing suggests that per se yet, other than the divergences that we've seen from those highs at 126. So that's not really a big enough sign all on its own, but you never know. And like we were talking about a little bit earlier in the stream here, there were these major moves down back in April of 21, May here, from that high in April all the way down to those lows in June, July. That was a 50% move. That was a really major move. That caught a lot of people off guard back then. I remember still working with a fund at that point, and we managed to sell some, but we were still caught offsides by that move a bit, and we had to take advantage of that move up afterwards to recover. That move up was really great and really fast, and it was wonderful to be a part of. And that move down afterwards, that was that was very nice. But it depends. You're going to be caught offside sometimes on things. This move down has been big, but it's at about 30% currently. That's what we're looking at typically in some larger moves in bullish trends. And we've obviously been in a bullish market now since about, what, January of 23. Um, for lower points, on the Fibonacci's, I really don't want to see any of that stuff. I do want to see the market hold this 87, 85 area. I don't mind if it dips below down into the low 80s, but I really don't want to see it break that low at 75. That'd be a pretty major change in market structure if that happened. So definitely keep an eye on that. Protect yourself. Make sure you don't get liquidated. If you are trading futures, don't be an idiot. that's that's the bottom line. Like, take advantage of the fact that you don't have to be a part of the market all the time. You can wait for the entry that you want. Take advantage of that. All right. Now that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be leading the market. Anytime it's moving down, almost nothing will really be moving up, except perhaps exchange tokens, BNB, things like Berry, stuff like that can move separate from the market, certainly. And some random coins will as well. But if you're making profit on some of your coins right now, maybe take advantage of these prices on some things. Put a little bit into Berry, get some staking, start earning that yield. Now, the U.S. markets are down today as well. All kinds of uncertainty happening in the U.S. right now with various things and changes to tariffs and tons of stuff going on. So I look at that stuff. I can understand some of it, but I wouldn't call myself an expert on those things by any means, being able to tell what's going to happen. I've had some nice buys in the traditional markets on some of the moves down recently, but let's keep our eyes on crypto for the moment. All right. Ethereum, let's look at the higher time frame. Same thing, like I said, it's going to follow Bitcoin for the most part right now. It doesn't look incredible. It's had kind of equal highs, higher high on very little volume. Really nothing impressive on the higher time frame right now. It's trading kind of like a shit coin, but it has made some higher lows, and it hasn't broken those other than this structure from August to April, but then made the higher high. So this is a really crazy move, though, for anybody that likes to chart, structures. This looks like some sort of expanding wedge situation. Don't love that. Yeah, that's super weird. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say about Ethereum right now. I'm not feeling strongly about it on a high time frame. 1500 should hold. Really don't even want to see it drop back below 23 myself. But it's had a nice run up from the lows there, and now it's come back down. Quite a bit of selling on it. You can see that same OBV downtrend on the weekly there. So keep an eye on that. Watch for it to break. That would be a nice entry point for potential big relief bounce. Obviously, historical price volume I'm not super interested in. I want to see more locally. People who purchased back in May, a lot of those people are still holding, and they're watching that price come back towards the prices they were buying. So that could be a source of sellers. Same thing with these people that were buying up in August here. And obviously anybody buying at the highs, they're feeling the pain right now. So definitely be watching this POC for the price action over the past year here. 25 level is the middle of that. Would love to see that hold if price were to continue down there. Don't want to see that break. That would be odd. Definitely wouldn't inspire a lot of confidence in Ethereum in the short term there. But if it can break some of these OBVs, especially on the daily, when we have that on the daily, really easy to keep an eye out when that OBV starts to break upward. Great time to start looking at buying there. in my opinion. Keep in mind, my opinions are not representative of the whole Berry team. I'm just the voice of Berry today, giving you some thoughts on the markets. Let's take a look at what the US dollar is doing here, because that does seem to have quite a bit of correlation with us. Yeah, it's rising. So we're going to see continued pressure in the crypto market as long as that's rising. It's been coming up from the low for a while now. Coming into the holidays, definitely a lot's going to depend on the economic data coming out of the holidays in the US and Europe here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Businesses obviously are looking for that Q4 bump from holidays in sales and things and people doing stuff, but remains to be seen whether that's going to happen this year or not. Definitely a lot of talk of uncertainty right now in what they call Main Street. For those of us who are in markets, there's always something interesting going on. And if you've been invested in U.S. equities for any number of years, you're not feeling uncomfortable at the moment. I'm a big investor in some healthcare, and let me tell you, healthcare is doing well at the moment after finding some lows recently, but had a big bump out of its lows. So not concerned about that. Big investor in U.S. markets in general as well, and taking a few fun positions here too. I just filled some orders today on a funky little thing called DGXX. You don't have to believe me, but I literally got the bottom of the market on this today. It doesn't even show it on here. Wow. I was filled at open at 3.11. Fucking hilarious. I bought some, on the way down too. So I've been buying it pretty much since it came down to $4. But yeah, that's a fun little position. You can look that up and see what's going on with that yourself if you want. Let's see how gold is doing. Yeah, had its bump up. It's just ranging now after that huge run. I'd be surprised to see it do anything really, really significant in the near term. But definitely looking for Bitcoin to find its bottom, and then we should see a great opportunity for some short-term positions if you're trading futures, leverage long positions, things like that. Shorting right here is, you could make money, but it seems like a huge risk to me. I'm personally not trying to short until we get a bounce, and then I might be looking at some sells again. But other than that, I'm just waiting for it to find its low, find a bid here, and if it doesn't after filling this CME gap, you can see we have filled it. We're right at the bottom of it right now. If we don't find some relief after that, then I will be targeting that 87 to 85 area for some entries, possibly after it wicks through there. So that's my thoughts on the market. Looking for that relief bounce, and then we can reevaluate the market at that point. But if you're just joining us, or if you're watching this on recording, we swapped some Solana into ETH, and then ETH into Berry in just a matter of seconds. Cross-chain swaps using the BerrieDex swap feature at swap.berr.ie. Try it out for yourself. Swap literally any chain into any other chain. It's incredible. Easy way to get any coin that you're looking for on any chain. Love it. The fees are great. It's beating Phantom. It's beating Uni. It's beating all the other swaps that I've used right now. Try it out for yourself. Compare rates and see what you can get there. So thank you so much for joining us. If you are not subscribed, please do so. Like and subscribe, and turn on that little bell notification so you always get notified whenever we post new videos or go live. And keep an eye out for the brand new Berry platform that is built for everyone with pro traders in mind and features easy enough for even beginners to get on board and start using. Super, super excited for that, plus prediction markets coming to Berry. All right, so we'll see you soon for all of that. I'll be here next Monday, and keep an eye out for lives the rest of the week. Thank you so much.